Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the January 6, 2023 meeting of the Trustees of Trust Funds. I'm Chris Christensen, the chair. To my right is,
Liz Petrides, alternate.
Bill Wilkes, trustee.
and to my left,
Pat Heinrich, trustee.
and
Tom Boland, Finance Director.
welcome all. And you'll pardon me while I slow down and make notes as we go. First order of business is the minutes of November 18th, 2022. Do we have a motion?
Motion to accept the minutes of November 18th, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion, corrections, omissions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pat?
Aye.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Okay, thank you. 300. All right, last meeting in November, we had an extended discussion with Cambridge Trust representatives. Just curious if anything came up there that we need to reflect on or reset our policy or any other thoughts, follow up to that. Anybody?
Everything's so volatile out there and everything's changing every day, so I think we're aware of it and we know they're doing the best they can to deal.
Well, I'm always amused when you go to a financial planner who says, don't look at your portfolio every day, look at it, 2-3 times a year. And yet you hear all this hoorah on television about what the market did today and what it did yesterday, and we don't know what it's going to do tomorrow. And so our long-term approach, I think, is beneficial to all. We're still getting roughly the same income, maybe a little bit better than what we did a year ago. So that's really the thrust of it. Correspondence. I think the first item was we got a request, this is an email request, from Tom Gibson to consider increasing the Gibson scholarship from $3,500 to $4,000. We do have the funds available to do that. The thought process in my mind is if we agree to do that now, this is the time of year when the school is setting up their scholarship programs and doing the publicity and getting applications in and so forth. We wouldn't be paying the money out until 2024, or maybe December of 23. So there's ample time to take care of that. The other thing, if you look at maybe next month's, in the past, we've been taking expenses, bank fees out of income only, and then we've changed over to take it out of income and principal. So that's going to generate more income for that particular scholarship fund as well as the others. So I'm comfortable with that, but if you want to make a motion, anybody to do that, then we'll send a note to Tom and say, yes, that's what we're going to do. And I think he will notify the school board, but I'll follow up to them too. Is that it? Bill? Pat, you're okay?
Yeah.
Second?
Yeah.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
300. Watson Scholarships and the Lego League. When I made up the agenda, we weren't sure about that, but in today's mail, we have funding for both of those things, $5,000 from the Watson Foundation for scholarships and $1,000 for the Lego League. I'll have to contact the school. They used to just send us a bill for that. Now we have to kind of squeeze it out of them. I'm not sure exactly why, but part of it is we get $1,000 for that. And they have many more teams than they used to have, and they fund some of it just out of school budget. In any event, I will contact them, but we do have those monies to be deposited to those two accounts. And Watkins Prize speaking contest, spelling contest is January 20th. And Pat, you had some background on that. You want to
Well, actually,
fill us in?
I was looking to find where the account started. And according to RMS 9, Watkins Prize speech and spelling started in 1945. Actually, speaking started in 1945, spelling started in 1955, and all of them were as a result of being put on the warrant at the annual school district meeting. And the speech actually was a warrant on town meeting as well as school district meeting a month later in
Interesting.
1945. There is sort of a discrepancy, so I'm going to continue to be looking into this, but your comment about them supposedly to be the same amount. Speaking started with $2,000. The warrant article for spelling started with $500, though the trustee reports for the following year show that it was $1,000 that came in. So, yeah, and then the fun part about this too is the Watkins Fund for Maintenance of the Elementary Schools started in 1960. And again, was a warrant article on the annual school district meeting that the town voted to accept it and put it there. So there is no will for any of these. And then for laughs and giggles, as I went through this, and I was pulling things out aside here, one of these reports, and this is in 1954, says that in accordance with a resolution at the last annual school district meeting, and this is in their annual report, the following regulations for the Watkins Prize Speaking Contest were adopted by your school board. Watkins Prize Speaking Contest shall be held on the first Friday in November every year. The contest will be open to all pupils in grade 5 through 8 who have been bona fide residents of Merrimack for at least 1 year. It will always be called the Watkins Prize Speaking Contest. Any pupil may compete as many years as he wishes or until he has won first prize or becomes a member of the high school. And the program, including the names of the judges, will be printed in the annual school report.
Interesting.
And like I said, I stopped and started looking through things. So I'm going to put some of these in the files downstairs because that's how this started. There
Well,
is no will.
I think it would be helpful, if you don't mind, to write that up as a summary,
Okay?
maybe a little bit more detailed than a summary, and distribute it. And I think we should, I'm going to suggest we mail a copy to the school board,
Well,
kind of bring them up to date.
what I didn't read to you, and when you come right down to it, is the warrant article on the school side for this money. Bear with me for a minute. To see if the district will vote to hold an annual prize speaking contest by the scholars of the district schools of the town to be conducted under the direction of the school board, providing a trust fund of $2,000 is established. First prize shall be $10. Second prize shall be $5, third prize $1, and shall be awarded by a disinterested judge or judges. Should the income of said fund ever be increased by 4%, then the first prize shall be $25, second prize $15, third prize $10, and fourth prize $5. Any scholar who has lived in Merrimack for at least 1 year and never attended any high school may compete for the above-named prizes. A scholar who wins first prize shall be disqualified from further competition. A scholar who wins second or third prize may compete until he or she has won first prize. Only scholars whose parents have been residents of Merrimack for at least 1 year shall be eligible to compete. The donor shall name the contest when the fund is established. And I went, all righty then.
Sounds pretty explicit to me, just didn't get handed down that way.
I know. But it started with, it spelled out the prizes, but it's supposed to be in the hands of the school board. So I find myself thinking, because the prizes obviously, and this started at the high school. And somewhere when the spelling competition started, it had switched over that it was at the high school and the middle school, and now it's only at the middle school.
When did we start high school in town?
It was at McGaw High School. It was at the McGaw Institute when it first started.
Okay,
And after this, the different reports, the principal, the headmaster of the middle school reports who won and who didn't win, or who won it and what they did. But the point was to go on. And prior to this establishment of the contest, some of them, before it, Watkins' daughter had won some of the state competitions or the area regional competitions, first place, and then this came up. So I find every time I wade through, I find something else to stop and catch my attention. But I do have the reports from the when the speaking started, when it became spelling. The Warren article says $500, but the following year it shows that the spelling competition had $1,000, and I don't know the where and how. I can get town annual meeting minutes. I cannot get school annual meetings or school board meetings from that time. They are inaccessible at this point. And until we get a professional on document restoration and document preservation, they will continue to be unavailable or just,
I thought they had to put all that stuff on microfiche starting 30 years ago.
it was optional to put on microfiche, but even then, they're in a vault that is so full of mold that the vault only gets opened twice a year. When I put the ballots in at the end of the annual election and 3 months later when we take them out to destroy them. That's it. The vault doesn't get open other than that. They are keeping things in a different location that's not a vault, but things going back this far, there's no access to right now. There will be when we get a new
Well,
superintendent's office and fix the.
Either way, I appreciate what you've done. I think that enlightens all of us. And some of this stuff we'll probably never know how that went from 500 to 1,000 or what have you. I do remember seeing a note, handwritten note from Harry Watkins,
Yeah.
suggesting that I don't know if it's not the trustees, but the spelling committee was not giving out enough money, that they'd saved up enough and they ought to increase the prizes, which made
Excellent.
that
Yes.
second
Yeah.
issue that you just mentioned. So intriguing to go through some of this.
Oh,
stuff.
it has been fascinating. There was one other thing that just popped in and out about, and maybe I'll remember it in a little bit and I'll write it down. So,
Well, having all of that in your hand, I want to nominate you to make the speech on behalf of the trustees at the spelling contest on January 20th, if that's acceptable to everybody.
It's fine with me.
you're out of town, aren't you, on the 20th?
Yes.
That's why we're not having a meeting on the 20th.
Yeah, I giggled about that myself when I got the notice. It says at 8 o'clock on the 20th, and I think, okay, we can't make that day. That's why we're not meeting then. Whatever.
I can make 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, if I can, before you go on.
Yeah.
And I know you were looking into the Stockley Fund or whatever it is
Yes.
downstairs, that we can't find a will and the state hasn't been able to find a will. It's actually listed in one of these reports as the Fred and Ada Stockley.
Oh,
So I'm wondering if we're looking for a will that didn't exist actually, or, but I'll keep going, and how it appears in these reports is a little strange. So I was gonna check with Tom about that. But they call it the Fred and Ada the first year it appears, and it's $500 that it started. But how it started or where it started, is
or
still,
its intent other than being school.
other than school, yeah. But I just thought that was, maybe we're looking for an Ada Stockley instead of a Fred Stockley will.
Well, in those days, and you're right, it may not be a will,
Yeah,
but in those days, the generous people just said, well, give it to the school, give it to the library, or what have you.
yeah.
Harry Watkins obviously was more explicit in his instructions, so the forest and the forest income fund and
Right.
on and on. But thank you again for
Yeah,
looking into that.
but I knew you tried, and that's,
Well, Tom tried. He went up to the archives in Concord at one point.
and I know because there's a letter in the files that, or an email to you that came through and that they couldn't find anything, and
Yep.
so it may well be it's not a will. So the mystery will continue.
Well, Moving on.
Thank you. I
Speaking of not a
apologize.
will, the Bear Christensen Fund received, or the town received, $13,000 in December. The town council voted to accept that money. $3,000 to go into the expendable common fund and $10,000 to go into the principal
Thank you.
growth and income. Oh. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So, I think that pretty much covers that. The other scholarships, I had one that came in, actually, we had one, we discussed this last summer, came in August. As soon as the scholarship paperwork went out of the school, I can't remember the name, whoever it was, sent us a letter requesting the money. And I wrote back to them and said, it's a second semester scholarship. When you've completed first semester, please resubmit. I haven't heard from them, but I did send an email a couple of days ago saying, can you bring us up to date on your status? We also had one from Plymouth State University, and the bill, or the request for the scholarship came like December 2nd, due December 15th or something like that. And the first semester didn't end until December 16th. So I wrote to the school and I wrote to the student involved and said, this is second semester scholarship. This letter is evidence that the money is being held on behalf of that student. As soon as we get second semester bill or completion of the first semester, we'll release the money. So we've done that. They only had to wait like a week. But I haven't had anything like that in the past from any other school. In many years ago, the requirement, now the award letter just says, send a copy of your tuition bill and your award letter. And so that's what they do. And there's no requirement in the award letter that says you have to complete the first semester, but that's the intent of it. And my hangup was when I talked to the school about it, that is Plymouth State, they said, if you pay it and the student does not come back for a second semester, for whatever reasons, we'll return the money to the student, not to the scholarship fund. And I thought that's a little bit awkward. So if we can delay a week or two and avoid that awkwardness, and it's apparently a rarity. This is the only time I've seen it happen. So I just wanted you to know that's kind of what went on. And the other schools that normally send us, or the students, they come in January, February, sometimes even March. I'm not sure why they're so late, but be that as it may. So we have one from Aiden Potter that's been paid, and one that came in today's mail from Ruth Ellis, which will be paid this week. And then the other half dozen or whatever number is, we're still waiting for the requests. So that's the update on the scholarships. Anybody want to do anything different, or? I don't think there's any need for additional motions at this point. Just kind of update what flows through the mailbox.
I think it's been working, so I don't think we need to change anything.
Brings us to next meetings. February 17th is the tentative date, and then March 17th, second tentative date, if you will. Does anybody have changes or suggestions or scheduling issues?
Those are fine with me.
17th works for me in February. I think both of those work for me.
Yes, since we meet on a Friday morning, it's not a problem. Pat may know this, I don't remember off the top of my head, but that week, the 17th, I think the 12th maybe, is town meeting or school district meeting.
Yes, it is, it's town meeting. School is the week before.
Okay.
And school is set for, it's either Tuesday or Wednesday with the rain date being Thursday or the snow date.
So you're welcome to attend all of those meetings as well. Or watch on
And we'll be
TV.
through by noon, right, on the 17th of March? I'm just, yeah, thank you for laughing, because that's exactly what I was thinking. I have to drive to Lebanon that afternoon.
Oh. Well, then, in that case, I hope it doesn't snow up there for you.
Me too.
Anything else that anybody wants to bring up that's proper business of the committee? Tom, you got anything exciting going on?
I just wanted to inform the trustees that the town is cutting a check today to fund the capital reserve funds for the current fiscal year in the aggregate amount of $2,437,250. So I think that's and we've got a memo that outlines which accounts those funds should be deposited into. I think, Chris, you typically forward that on to Cambridge Trust.
Right.
Unfortunately, a check's not available right now. Otherwise, I'd give it to you. It'll be cut later this morning. We've had some issues in our department with our accounts payable person being out on medical issue, so we're a little behind schedule.
Well, the whole cycle's off a little bit, isn't it?
Well, the tax bills went out late. That's why
That
we are
happens statewide.
right. But normally, if we were cutting a check in a week, it would be ready yesterday. We're a little bit behind, so I don't know what you want to do. I can deliver that check somewhere for you, or do something with it, or whatever you want.
Why don't you send me a copy of the memo that's going to go with it?
Okay.
You can email that to me.
Yep.
And I'll draft the deposit letter and we'll get that going. Then you can just drop the check in the mail along with the two letters.
Okay. Sounds good.
In the mail to the bank or in the mail to you? I
Mail to
assume
the
you mean
bank.
to the bank.
To
Yeah.
the bank. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But everything that goes to the bank has to have a letter of instruction
Yep.
going
Oh,
with
I
it.
understand.
So that was $2,437,250.
Correct.
Anything new and exciting that the people back home want to hear about on that?
On that front,
Yeah.
no, that's the what was in the voted budget. So
So it's spread out over 15 or 16 different funds?
correct.
Yeah, okay. I'm grasping at straws here. So we're having no other business. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Or just declared to adjourn?
Just declare it.
9:25.